Hi, friends. I know a lot has changed since the last policy update webinar. We were able to get a temporary funding measure in place to avert a federal government shutdown, at least temporarily. We saw the House of Representatives fire the Speaker of the House for the first time in our nation's history. And we have just about a month to get another agreement to fund the government, or we'll see a federal government shutdown. I know this sounds hard to hear, but all of those things are distractions. They're news, but they're distractions from what we really need people to be talking about. The value of government programs in ending poverty and ensuring that each and every person has a safe place to live and healthy food to eat. We're calling on Congress to fund the government and fund human needs without forcing harmful immigration policies on us. We want people to see the value of the federal government, to expose the lies of a narrative that tells people that a federal government has no value in our lives or in our communities. And we need your help. Will you join us in writing a letter to the editor, talking about the federal funding that our communities depend on, and calling on Congress to include that funding in the federal budget? Here are some tips on how to share that message. Number 1, lift up the good. Provide specific examples of the good things that happen in your community because of federal funding. Federal funding provides shelter for unhoused people. Federal funding helps families to be able to afford shelter and food. Federal funding invests in communities by making sure young children have access to healthy food. These things ultimately benefit all of us. But too many people don't know about these ways the federal government helps our local communities. We need to change that message. Number 3, focus on local. Talk about what matters in your community. Try to find local information wherever possible. That's what your legislators most want to hear anyway. Was there recent news coverage about a local food bank? Can you connect with a local shelter to learn how federal funding supports their work? Try to paint a picture of how it might impact your community to lose federal funding. Number 4, name race. It's important to note that cuts to federal programs don't impact everyone equally. Due to centuries of targeted policies that blocked Black and brown people from opportunities, many people of color rely on assistance to meet their daily needs. But many white people also rely on federal assistance to meet their daily needs. Rural communities are also disproportionately supported by programs like SNAP. We can neutralize strategic racism that some politicians use by naming how we all benefit when we come together across our racial differences to build a society that works for all of us. No exceptions. Further, certain members of Congress are trying to tie harmful immigration policies to this budget bill, pitting struggling communities within the country against struggling communities seeking safety and a new life here. We must name this tactic for what it is, an attempt to divide us so that they don't have to deal with the power that we have when we come together. Number 5, call your representative to action. We're calling on Congress to fund the federal government and to fund human needs. And your representative has a specific role to play. We want Democrats to stay strong on keeping harmful immigration policies out of the budget. We want moderate Republicans to work in a bipartisan manner to keep the federal government operating without forcing harmful policies on us. And we want to name how the actions of the House Freedom Caucus members are hurting their constituents and urge them to let go of their demands. Number 6, call your reader to action. Our calls last month made a difference. Invite your reader to participate in the process of democracy by calling their representative and telling them to fund human needs programs in the budget. Number 7, stay hopeful. We know that we can get there. And sometimes we and others in the general public just need a reminder. Use your letter to provide that reminder. You can share that our calls to Congress in September averted a government shutdown with no harmful cuts in the temporary funding bill, because we came together across any differences we had to insist that Congress hear us. Take care of all people, no exceptions. As you draft your letter, please know that the network team is here to help. We are happy to provide guidance or review a draft. And don't forget, send us your letter when you send it to your local newspaper. And when it gets published, please send us a link, a photo, or a screenshot. We'll lift it up again to your representative's office to make sure that they see it. Thank you for taking action. We are counting on you to cheer on your member of Congress and shift the narrative in your local community. Thank you.